Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the KBShimmer Summer Vibes collection. This is a new 9-piece collection. I will link the KBShimmer website down below because these are available right now. I will have comparisons after the swatches, 9 polishes altogether, and I will get into it. If you are unfamiliar, these are the boxes that the KBShimmer polishes come in. The first polish is called simply the Zest, and this is described as a vibrant yellow-leaning chartreuse. It has a shifty shimmer from yellow to lime to gold and holographic flakies. This was surprisingly opaque. I think that shifty shimmer in there almost comes off a little bit metallic and it adds a lot of opacity to the polish. Good formula and virtually no brush strokes also. There are a few if you really look for them. They do settle in as it dries, but I think those holographic flakies break them up really well. And this did cover completely for me in 2 coats, and it's very shifty because it was very yellow on camera, but it looked very, very green from my angle. So that is 2 coats of Simply the Zest. The next polish is called Stick With Me, and this is described as a shimmery polish with a soft pink base, and then the description also mentions gold tones and shifting to coral or bright orange. And you can see from the bottle shot to the swatch how different this looks depending on the lighting. Great formula. A ton of shimmer. I do feel like it's a little dull on the first coat. There's not a ton of color coming out on the first coat. It is mostly shimmer, but it builds up really nicely here in 2 coats. The color being built up also helps the shimmer stand out even better. Very minimal brush strokes, and they do blend in. What you might be able to pick out does blend in really well after it dries. I would say 2 or 3 coats depending on your application. I was good in 2, but I could see longer nails needing 3. So that is 2 coats of Stick With Me. The next polish is called In A Melon, and this is described as a vibrant neon pink jelly with shifty flakies that shift from yellow to gold to orange. Good formula on this one. It is a jelly, so it is a bit squishy and sheer on the first coat. I think there's an okay amount of flakies. I would like to see a few more flakies, but to be fair, those pink shifting ones don't show up very well on this angle. There's a lot of flakies in there that you really can't see on the first coat. The color builds really nicely on the second coat, and the flakies build up really nicely as well. I do still wish there were a few more, but it does look better in 2 coats. I did end up adding a third. I would probably wear it in 2, but I felt like there was just enough visible nail line that it should have a third coat just to see what it can do. And it did cover a little bit better in that third coat. So that is 3 coats of In A Melon. The next polish is called Aim to Breeze, and this is described as a vibrant magenta jelly with a bold blue shimmer. I also need to get some kind of marker because I can never maintain a consistent distance from the camera with these bottles. Great formula on this one. It's pretty opaque. I was expecting it to be more sheer than this. The shimmer stands out really nicely also. Practically no brush strokes. Anything you might see is going to blend in when it dries. It builds really well in 2 coats. Like the last polish, I had a little tiny bit of visible nail line, but it was just enough that I felt like I should see what a third coat can do. And the third coat really changed nothing. It didn't look any different to me between 2 and 3 coats. So I would call it a 2-coater even though that's not what I did. So that is 3 coats of Aim to Breeze. The next polish is called Give Me the Scoop, and this is described as a shifty lavender, a lavender base with a shimmer that shifts from peach to copper to gold. Great formula on this one as well. I know I say that all the time, but it's not often that I come across a polish that doesn't have a good formula. The base color is pretty sheer on the first coat, but the shimmer is very strong, so it's still fairly opaque in 1 coat. Again, this built up really nicely in 2 coats. It got more vibrant and the shimmer got brighter. I did have a tiny bit of visible nail line, again, that I just wanted to see if I could cover with a third coat. And the third coat did cover that up completely. It didn't change the color much, but it did cover that little bit of nail line. So that is 3 coats of Give Me the Scoop. The next polish is called Bucket List, and this is described as a deep indigo jelly base filled with microflakes. And then it says that those microflakes have a pink to yellowy and lime shift. KBShimmer descriptions are very involved, so I'm kind of having to deconstruct them on the fly. Great formula on this one as well. It's a jelly base, so it's a little bit sheer, but it is still saturated. There's a good amount of color that you get, even though you can see the nail line a bit. Lots of flakies, and they're very, very shifty. So because the flakies are so dense, this did cover completely for me in 2 coats, and also because they're flakies, you won't have any texture or difficulty removing them. And I had to just get a little more coverage on the corner of my nail here. So that is 2 coats of Bucket List. The next polish is called That's My Jam, and this is described as a vibrant berry-colored polish. It's a little bit metallic, and it says depending on the lighting, it will look anywhere between red and pink. And I think you can see that difference between the bottle shot and this. I had a really hard time figuring out whether this was red or pink when I was trying to pull out the comparisons. Very opaque on the first coat, but a bit uneven. It was hard to pick out on camera, but it was just a little bit uneven for me. It did build up really nicely in 2 coats color-wise, but it didn't level itself out very well. You can kind of see how unlevel it is. I know that top coat would fix that, but it is a little disappointing to see a polish that doesn't self-level. It is very glowy with no brush strokes through that shimmer. So that is 2 coats of That's My Jam. The next polish is called What a Catch, and this is described as a teal green. It says pops of gold and peach in some lighting, and then the holographic flakies. Really good formula on this one, very opaque on the first coat. It is very shifty. I did not get peach though. I got a lot of that like green to gold shimmer, but I didn't see any peach in this one. This covered completely for me in 2 coats. It comes off very metallic to me, and I'm always very impressed with KBShimmer when they put out this kind of finish because the base is so opaque, but those holographic flakies are still really bright and like glowing and obviously there. They're not buried in that base at all. So that is 2 coats of What a Catch. And the last polish is called Swim Pickings, and this is described as a vibrant ultramarine jelly with color shifting flakies. Good formula on this one, very saturated jelly base. It's squishy and see-through. You can definitely tell that it's a jelly, but it has a lot of color to it. Good amount of flakies, ton of flakies. There's more on my nail than it looks at my normal swatching angle. You can see I'm moving my nail around a little bit. They were kind of hidden by the shift. Covered completely in 2 coats, some really, really minor texture from just a couple of unruly flakies, but nothing crazy, nothing that just a normal top coat wouldn't cover, and they still are easy to remove. So that is 2 coats of Swim Pickings. So starting out here, Once in a Melon is the only one that I didn't have any comparisons for. I'm actually surprised. I feel like I should have had something really similar to this in my KB Shimmer collection, but I just didn't. I had I don't remember what it was called, but I had a like neon green yellow that was like a similar jelly-ish crelly base with iridescent flakies in it, but I didn't have one in pink. So I don't have anything for this one. And I do always stay within the same brand for comparisons. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about why I do that, and that's just because I have thousands of polishes, and if there wasn't a rule set up, then comparison sections would just not happen because it's just too many to go through, which is why I always invite requests, comments. If you see a polish you think might look like another one from another brand, let me know. I'll see if I have it. I can do a comparison in like a short form video, but as far as for these actual videos go, it's just impossible for me to go through everything. So I just stick within the same brand, unless something's like really egregious, like really, really obviously meant to dupe like a really popular discontinued polish, then I'll do that comparison. But for the most part, I stick within the same brand just so that I have some kind of starting and ending point, or else I would never get through it. Simply the Zest. This one is Daffodil with it. This is a little bit of a dirtier yellow. Yellow kind of gets dirty when you mix in like a linear holographic pigment to it. So it's a little bit of that like slightly dirtier looking yellow, strong linear holographic. So Daffodil with it doesn't have that same kind of intense metallic sparkle that the flakies give Simply the Zest. This is Let It Slide. This is a much more solid neon yellow, nothing close there. It does have a nice like red, orange, gold-ish shimmer to it, but again, not comparable. This one is perfectly suited. This I feel like is kind of close, but the shimmer really takes this one over. It's got that strong red shimmer to it that makes it hard to tell like how close the base color actually is, because all I can see is that shimmer. And it also has some holographic flakies that are in Simply the Zest, but I feel like they stand out more in Perfectly Suited. Granted, I am in indoor lighting though, so that could change in the sun. And this one is Squeeze the Day. Also a lot more flakies, but a smoother base with a slight red shimmer to it. It doesn't have that really intense, metallic, shiny look to it that Simply the Zest has. So for Aim to Breeze, this one is Meltdown. This is a little bit lighter, a bit more pink. The shimmer that's in there is a kind of bluey purple shimmer, but it's much more muted and it's a little more broken up. Like the whole shimmer in this polish is a little bit more broken up. It's not smooth and glowy. And then this one is Dress to Krill. This is smooth and glowy. The base color is just a little bit lighter and slightly less vibrant than Aim to Breeze, and the shimmer is slightly different as well. It's a little bit more purple and less blue, but these are kind of close. I wouldn't say that they're dupes, but they definitely have the same basic idea. So next up is Give Me the Scoop. This first one is Such a Smarty. This definitely leans more of like a pastel purple shade gold shimmer linear holographic, so not super close. This is What's Poppin'. Definitely more pink, more scattered holographic, and has a green shimmer to it. This one is Skiing is Believing, also more pink, strong gold shimmer. And this one is Hidden Potential, which is much closer than I thought it was going to be from looking at it in the bottle. I initially thought it was close because I was looking at it with a flashlight, and then once I took the flashlight away, they looked wildly different. And then once I swatched them next to each other, they looked close enough to justify again. So this one is a darker purple with like a shifty gold to green shimmer to it. I just feel like this pink shimmer in Give Me the Scoop is just so blinding and bright and glowy that I can't see. I know that some of these are kind of similar, but it just stands out so much, even amongst all these other like very shimmery, bright, flashy polishes. This one is just like popping off the wheel. Next up is Swim Pickins. This first one here is Spell Check. This is a much deeper blue, and the iridescent flakies that are in here are much closer to the blue base colors. They don't stand out quite as much. This one is Freeze the Day. This is a also like almost purpley blue. It has like a really like China Glaze Frostbite kind of metallic base to it. It's how it looks to me right now. And then it has these metallic flakies in it as well. This is I'll Be There. It's more of like a greeny blue with contrasting kind of like gold green flakies. And then this one is Soul Blue. This is also a dustier, more gray blue, almost slate blue, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Strong holographic to it, and then also different colored flakies. So nothing close there. So for That's My Jam, this one is difficult to nail down. It looked very, very red to me in the bottle, and I was kind of trying to pick out more red shades, but then once I get it swatched on the wheel, it looks very pink in person, so it's a little bit shiftier than I originally thought it was. This one here is Totally Stoked. This is a very smooth metallic polish, so obviously Totally Stoked is not going to match it super well. It's got a strong shimmer to it and a ton of holographic flakies. This one, similar, this is Picture This. This has a strong contrasting gold shimmer and a bunch of flakies. This is So Cordial. This is more red when you actually stick the two next to each other, even though I thought this was going to be color-wise a really good match, and also has this like fine red glitter in it. And then this one is Jelly Much. This is a polished pickup shade from August 2022. This is also not close, much more like light, almost corally pink, and that gold shimmer is giving it that coral look as well, and still not as smooth and metallic as That's My Jam. So for Bucket List, this first one is Sugar, Spice, and Everything Nice. This is the June polish pickup, like 2024, recent June polish pickup. This is much more blue, similar shifty, flaky thing going on, but the base color is a lot more blue, almost a little green blue. This one is Simply Irresistible. This has a lot of scattered holographic to it. It's a darker purple and has a gold shimmer, so that makes them not even look remotely close. Same goes for Just the Coolest. Similar flaky situation, much, much lighter blue base color. Also similar with Seeing is Believing. Slightly similar flaky situation. I think Seeing is Believing has a finer flake to it, but again, lighter blue shade. And then this one is Before and After. This is mostly just holographic flakies in this blue base. It's leaning a little bit more periwinkle in comparison, and then it has a strong pink shimmer. So nothing close there either. Next up I have Stick With Me. This is So Impatience. This is a little bit darker pink and has a really strong pink shimmer to it, as well as much more scattered holographic. I'm actually looking at the bottle of Stick With Me, and I don't think there's scattered holographic in there at all. It's hard to tell. Maybe. Kind of. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't think so. It's not as obvious. It's not like big, chunky, obvious flakies anyway. This is Rock the Float. This is also darker, contrasting gold shimmer. They're kind of similar, just not the same shade of pink. The finish is pretty similar though. This one is What a Peach. This is the April polish pickup from this year. Much larger, flaky, and just a different shimmer, different base color in general. And then this one is Flip Out. This is like a bright neon coral with a gold shimmer. So again, kind of similar finish, but the base color is like way out there, not comparable. And lastly, we have What a Catch. This first one is No Wave. These are, let's be fair, these are all kind of similar. No Wave is kind of similar. I think the base color might lean a little bit more green, but it's hard to tell because once you get this gold shimmer into What a Catch, it gives it like a slight green tone to it. That might even be a green shimmer, to be fair. wear. I haven't read the descriptions on the website yet to do the voiceover, but these are close. There's a blue shimmer to this one. The contrasting like a green and gold shimmer is going to stand out a lot more, and I think there's more holographic flakes to No Wave, but in general they're kind of close. They're not like duplicates. There's clear differences, but you know. This is Cool Beans. I love this polish. This is also a very similar base color, but the shimmer that's in here seems much stronger and brighter and more contrasty. This one is Better Late Than Never. This is slightly more metallic. I guess No Wave say it also has a little bit more of a metallic base to it with more holographic flakies and not quite as strong of a shimmer. And then this one is Current Affairs. This is a lighter, brighter blue with a blue shimmer. Very similar finishes, slightly different base color, and the different shimmer I think is what makes the biggest difference. I'm going to try not to go straight for the pink with gold shimmer that is Stick With Me, and I'm going to say that Give Me the Scoop is actually my favorite. It's very shifty. I like that. I like that it's a little bit darker. For some reason I've been wanting to wear like slightly darker shades. I still like the really shimmery, really shifty stuff, but I just want something a little bit darker on my nails, especially when they're very short. But honorable mention to Simply the Zest, because I just like this a lot more than I thought I would. Whenever I see a yellow in any collection from any brand, I'm always a little bit hesitant because they're not always great. I feel like I always struggle with yellows more than anything else, but this one was very good and also very shifty. So that is the KBShimmer Summer Vibes collection. Again, I will link the KBShimmer website down below where you guys can check these out. They will also be available at Polish and Beauty Expo. So if you're going to be there, I will see you tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later.